Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be doing an everyday makeup look. Now you can see that I have some wing liner on, but this is pretty much my everyday, even if I'm going to Costco with my mom. I know it's a little bit more glamorous than other people, but I will tell you that you can get in and out in about 15 minutes. So if you're interested in finding out how to do this look, stick around. But today what I'm going to be using is Mineral Veil Primer from Hourglass to start things off, and I'm just going to put that on the back of my hand. And then with my fingers, I'm going to take that and just put that in my face like this. Alright. I usually only use one pump of that stuff. I don't really feel like I need to just douse my face in that. It's just going to fill your pores and make sure that you have a great canvas when you go ahead and apply your foundation. Alright, so that looks good. You can't tell any difference because you shouldn't be able to, but you should notice the difference once I start putting on foundation. Foundation gives me tons of problems. I like it one day, I don't like it the other day, it's too dry, it's too oily. There's always something going on with my foundation. I have found that the Too Faced Born This Way foundation is my favorite. This one is the color Porcelain. I will tell you that Porcelain is not the lightest shade. Snow is going to be the lightest shade. And Porcelain is not porcelain. It's a little bit darker than that, but for the most part, you can get away with it if you look like Casper, kind of like me. So I'm going to go ahead and pump some of that into my hand. I have about a pump and a half to start, and I'm going to apply that with a wet beauty blender. And I'm just going to apply a little bit of the product. Now, sometimes what I'll do is I will take the beauty blender from my hand and then put it right on my face. Other times I will take this, spot it on my face, and then blend it out. Do I notice a difference? No. I don't know why I do it. It's just something that I do. So I'm going to start and just pounce this on your face like that. Now, beauty blenders are by far my favorite thing to apply foundation with, but you really do need to get a beauty blender. There are a lot of like sponges that do sort of the same thing, but they're not quite as bouncy, I found, as the beauty blender. There's just something about it that really just makes your foundation look pretty flawless. I'm just going to keep pouncing this. Now, I pretty much always do like one very thin coat, see what my coverage looks like, and then go back in if need be. Just like that. A funny story about this beauty blender, I don't know if you can see it very clearly, but it kind of has like a weird green tinge. I bought this at Sephora the other day, and this is called the Beauty Blender Nude, and it's nude because unlike the original pink one, this one should not look like there's a ton of gross foundation in it. But when I went to wipe it out, like in the sink, like all the stuff came out into the sink and it was gross. So if you decide to do this nude one, just make sure that you actually go through and wash it out properly, because I don't know what kind of ink that is, but you probably don't want that on your face. Maybe you do, I don't know. I'm gonna put another pump here so you can see that I'm starting to get a lot more coverage on my face here. Alright, so I have applied foundation everywhere on my face. You're still going to notice that you can still see a little bit of the blemish. If I pull my bangs up, you are going to see a pimple from hell. I don't know how it got there, but there it is. It's still red. We'll take care of it. Don't worry. So the next thing we're going to do is conceal. And I will tell you, as much as I love this concealer, I could take the pump off it, take it against the wall, and break it because I hate the pump. This is going to be the MAC ProLongwear concealer. It is an NW15. The coverage is awesome. The staying power is awesome. The blendability is awesome. The pump sucks. It's so bad because I will take a little bit on here. A full pump will come out. I could cover my entire face in that concealer. If you want to do that, this would be the concealer for you. I don't want to do that. So sometimes I have to battle with that just to make a little bit of product come out and not an entire pump. To apply the concealer, I am going to use this little baby. This is going to be a micro beauty blender. It's odd to me that this is almost as green as this, but that's fine. We'll talk about that later. I'm going to take some of the concealer that was on the back of my hand, and then I'm just going to, again, pounce would be the term that I would use underneath my eyes. Okay, so that's for the most part blended. I will continue to do that for a couple seconds there, just to make sure everything's good. I typically do use a concealer that is a shade or so lighter, just to brighten everything up. If you have any dark circles, or you haven't gotten a good night's sleep, you were out, whatever, this is going to help diminish those as best as makeup can. So good. Now I'm going to take a little bit of what's left there. I don't know how this got here on the side of my face, but we'd like it to go away. So we're just going to... Okay. So to set our makeup, what we're going to do is I'm going to take some of the Mercier finishing powder and a Real Techniques brush. Now, to make sure that this is evenly covered, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to pounce it in. And then, because there's probably a lot of product on here right now, I'm going to take the cap and I'm just going to pounce it in there. And you may not be able to see it, but I can actually see some of the powder coming up, which means that this is a little more evenly dispersed. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to pat my face. Why am I patting and not rubbing, you might be asking. I just find that it will set the makeup better if I pat rather than rub, because rubbing, you may actually move the makeup on your face, and you don't want to do that after you've just spent 30 minutes blending everything in. So what I'm going to do is lay just a solid color down on my eyelid to get rid of any lingering discoloration that might be there. To do that, I'm going to use the color Walk of Shame. It is from the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette, and I'm going to use a MAC 239 shader brush to do that. Doesn't really need to be like perfect. We're just going to lay this color down. Good to go. We're just going to do a little bit of definition with a MAC 217 brush, and I'm going to first use the color Naked 2. That would be this shade here. And I'm just going to grab a little bit. I'm also going to pat that off. You're going to see some eyeshadow disperse there because I don't want any extra. I want it to be pretty even. And so I'm just going to take that in my crease there, and using the infamous windshield wiper motions, we are just going to go back and forth in that crease. All right. And so you can see there's a tiny bit of definition there. If it's not completely blended out, don't worry, we'll get there. Okay, so now that we have that laid, just a little nice definition in the crease there, we're going to take Faint, which is the second to darkest color in the Naked Basics palette, and I'm going to take a MAC 224 brush. It is a blending brush. The first thing I'm going to do is just lightly go over the area I did before to make sure any harsh lines are now gone. This is great. I will tell you, fun fact, I just had to buy this brush again and this brush because they both went missing and I didn't know where they went. But luckily MAC had a 10 off of 50 coupon, which came at the perfect time. Now I'm going to take this Faint, again, tap everything off, and then I'm just going to go in that crease again. Now I am taking it all the way up, but I will tell you that I'm going to concentrate most on the outer V here, just to give it a little bit more definition. And then we're going to just blend. All right, and you can start to see that there's really some definition there in the eye. We're going to do the same thing to the other one. Okay, so now if you look, pretty much even on either side, not a crazy amount of eyeshadow, not a crazy amount of definition, just a little something there that will make it a little bit more defined and dimensional. You could definitely stop here if you wanted. If you are a big fan of matte eyeshadows, by all means, just stop here if you want to. I like a little bit of shimmer and a little bit of sparkle, so I'm going to do a couple extra steps. The next thing I'm going to do, and this is just going to be, again, with this MAC 239 brush in really like the center here, is I'm going to take this LouManizer, which is actually a highlight. It is just like a champagne shimmer color, and I'm going to pack that right on the center of my lid. Now, if you really wanted to up the sheen of this, you could definitely take Max Fix Plus, wet the end of your brush, and then dip it in here. I would tell you that I personally like dedicating at least one part of the pan to a wet half of the shadow, one part to a dry half. For whatever reason, I feel like the consistency is different. If you did that, you would up the sheen a little bit. But for today, this should be just fine. Okay, so now we have place for eyeshadow. We left the other here pretty much for the part. I'm going to take this everything. And last but not least, I am going to take a highlight color, and that is going to be the most used color from this Naked Basics palette, which is going to be Venus. It is very good for pale skin as a highlight. I'm going to put that up here against my eyebrow. And then I'm also going to put that, just pack that right in here. Alright. And then last but not least, I'm going to take this pointed Sony Kashuk brush, take a little bit of Naked 2 and Faint together. And then I'm just going to run this. This is a very attractive face, isn't it? Yeah, let's do it again. If you have a suggestion for a better face to make, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Alright. Well, now that I just made an embarrassing face for a total of 30 seconds, let's move on, shall we? Alright. So again, very light definition there, just a little something to give it a little bit more than just sweeping a colored eyeshadow on top of my lid, which honestly sometimes I do if I'm feeling lazy and I don't feel like doing all of that. Now that we went ahead and did all of our eyeshadow, we're going to go ahead and we are going to curl our lashes. I just have an eyelash curler here. I'm going to put this on. Do it. If you are blessed with eyelashes that curl, that's fine. I am not one of those people. So curling eyelashes is pretty much a necessity. I will tell you that in the past I have taken a hair dryer on this and then I have blown the hot air and then I've curled my eyelash. However, I'm not going to recommend that because someone will be down below saying that then they ripped all their eyelashes off. Don't do that unless you feel confident with the amount of heat that's on your eyelash curler. My signature look for makeup is going to be winged eyeliner, and I have one eyeliner in particular that is my holy grail. I will never use anything else. It was going on sale at Target, and so I bought all of them to make sure I never ran out. And that is the liquid eyeliner for NYC. It has a pretty slim top that looks like that, if you can see it. It is the best liquid eyeliner that I've ever used. I've used NYX before. I've used Kat Von D's pen that she has. I always come back to this. It's like $3.99 at Target, and it will stay all day. It is perfectly black. I don't have a bad thing to say about it, except that I'm not crazy about the wand. I actually, up until recently, was using a wand from a different eyeliner that was much thinner and pointier. However, that one had seen better days, so I needed to let it go. This is what I'm working with now. I'm at the point where I'm pretty okay using it, and you're going to see me put on a winged liner right now. So what I typically do is I will dip it in and then use the cap to take off excess product. If you have a lot of excess product, just know that it's going to be harder to work with. So I try to eliminate that if possible. So I'm going to start the corner here. And I don't do an entire eye at one time. I don't know why. I will do the top of one eye, the top of the other eye, the wing of one eye, the wing of the other eye. Are wings supposed to be twins or sisters? Hard to say. Sometimes they're twins, sometimes they're distant cousins. You just do what you like. So first part done. This is the easy part. The hard part is actually going to be the wing. I'm going to take it back in, and rather than dip it completely in, there's some excess product here, and I'm just going to kind of swirl my brush, get it damp again, and then take off the excess. Now, I want to make sure that this brush here is as thin as possible, and I want to make sure that none of the bristles are bunched up, because when I actually do the wing, that thin line there is going to be the key to having an actual wing liner, or like one of those memes that you see on BuzzFeed where it's like all the way up in your eyebrow. So here we go. And the next thing we're going to do is apply some mascara. I'm using two different mascaras today. The first one is going to be from Covergirl. It is the Supersizer Fibers. You may see a different tube. It might be the same color but with some yellow writing. That is like this one's little brother. I guess this would be the little brother of that one. This is supposed to have fibers that'll actually extend your lashes. Do I know if it does that? I don't know. I like it enough though. And I'm going to take this wand and I'm going to wiggle and hope that I don't get anything on my actual eyelid. They have those cards that you can put on there, but that just seems like a real pain in the ass. I don't know. Next one is going to be this NARS Audacious mascara. It has a little bit different of a wand. Looks like that compared to, so you can see definitely different ones. They do different things. I find that the Fibers one, the Covergirl, will really give me a good base. If there's any like clumpiness, which sometimes that has a tendency to give, this one is going to be what's going to help decrease that. Now, if you are like me and have bangs, you could certainly skip this step. I will tell you that I am guilty of skipping this step a lot. However, today I'm just going to show you a little bit about how I will fill in my eyebrows. And I am going to use Fling by MAC. It is an eyebrow pencil. It has a little spoolie on this end. What more do you need, especially when you're going to see maybe 10% of my brows? You thought we were done with the face, but we're not. We're now at the last part of that, and that is going to be the contouring and the blush, and then we're going to do a little bit of a highlighter. Now, I like contouring, especially when I have a rounder face. I think it gives it some dimension. Makes it look a little thinner. You can't complain about that. There is like a new fad going on. I think Kim Kardashian said she really liked it. It was called non-touring. Listen, I just learned how to contour, so I'm not going to give it up quite yet, but you certainly do not need to do this step if you don't want to. However, I am going to because it makes me feel a little bit more complete with my makeup. I'm going to use this brush here. I think it's called W.O.S. I got it in a subscription box. I seem to like it a lot, and I'm going to use it with the lightest shade from the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette. I am not going to show you that palette either because it has seen better days, but I will insert a picture somewhere in this general area so you can see what that looks like. I am going to take my brush and kind of push it on the sides there a little bit, and I'm going to pat my brush in, and then I'm just going to tap my brush off on the side here. Now again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to push my hair behind my ears so that I can see everything here. I'm going to suck in my cheeks and then contour where the hollows would be. And so you can see that I'm starting right there. And then I just take this now that it's not pointed, and I just blend it in. Now, sometimes when I'm wearing self-tanner, I won't use this lightest shade because it's pretty similar to the color that I am. I'll end up using the darkest shade to be able to contour. And you want to actually blend up. You don't want to blend down. If you blend down, it'll actually make your cheeks look like they are saggier. But if you blend up, it'll actually look lifted. All right, and then I'll take a little bit more here, dab that off, and then just run it up here. And I will blend it down just because I'm so worried ever about having like some kind of like weird foundation contour line. So while I put it on my jaw, I will actually move it downward. All right, so you should be able to see a little bit of difference there on my cheeks. And the next thing we're going to use is blush. I'm going to be using one that you probably have heard of a million bazillion times. It's going to be NARS Orgasm. Again, Sephora 500 point beauty perk. I mean, honestly, like, you can't beat getting this tiny size for 500 points. I'm going to take a Real Techniques blush brush and then just pat that on. And again, pat off so that you're not getting an excess of color. I'm going to go ahead and smile and then just put it on the apples of my cheeks and blend back. Now, what works for blush placement for me may not work for you. You need to look at your face shape and then apply blush. If you have a round face shape, like I do, unfortunately, putting it there and then sweeping it backward seems to work. Alright, blush is done. I'm going to take that blending brush, the powder brush that I used, and just make sure everything there is nicely blended, that there's no harsh lines. Alright, so we're almost done. The last thing that we're going to do is go ahead and highlight. Now, if you are a big fan of this Mary LouManizer, go for it. It's a great highlighter. Today, what I'm going to use is going to be from BECCA. I have two different options. One is a liquid, one is going to be a powder. Today I'm going to use the powder. This I got in a discovery kit. Am I blinding you with this mirror? Let's cover that. I got this in a discovery kit from BECCA with a bunch of her products. I quite like it. I don't have a fan brush that I typically apply my highlighter with. Right now what I'm using is going to be this, it's a setting brush from Real Techniques. I'm going to, again, dip it in there, take it off, and then right on top of where the blush is, I'm just going to very nice and gently apply that sheen. I'm also going to tip of my nose down the bridge, Cupid's bow, and if you're feeling wild and crazy, you could certainly put it in there, and also at your brow bone. Okay, one last time to blend. And then we're going to go ahead and take Urban Decay All Nighter Spray. And you want to spray like you've never sprayed before. So I'm going to take it, you can see, hopefully you're going to be able to see it. I haven't used this yet, can you tell? A nice fine mist. By far my favorite. If you have dry skin, I will tell you that All Nighter is going to be the best one. I use the other one that's now, the name is slipping my mind. The lady at Sephora actually told me that they put powder inside of that setting spray. So not only are you getting whatever alcohol is going on your face and the setting powder that you've already used, you're now also taking another powder that's inside of your setting spray and putting it on your face. So I would highly recommend the All Nighter if you have any kind of dryness or your skin just, you know, it's hard to handle. So now I'm going to take this up like that and we're going to spray. And we're going to keep spraying. Don't get it in your mouth because it doesn't taste good. Alright, we're going to push those down. We're going to go like this and pretend like this helps. Okay. And now everything is set. But you probably think, Ashley, you're missing something. Yeah, I know I am. I will not put my lip product of choice on when I do this. I don't know why, I just don't like that. So I always do my lip product after I do my setting spray. And today we're going to use the Manna. This is a lip gloss stain. Now I will tell you, with full disclosure, that I hate lip gloss. I don't like it. I don't like the way that it makes my lips feel. I don't like the way that it makes my lips look. So when I first got this product in a Birchbox, I just was really honestly ready to just throw it out and move on to other products. However, I was in a pinch. I grabbed it. The color is beautiful. It does not feel like a lip gloss. And yes, it is more similar to a liquid lipstick in that it will last for a really long time. So I'm going to apply that now. Alright, I'm going to do my hair and we'll be right back. Okay guys, so I just ran a straightener through my hair, made sure that anything that was unruly wasn't anymore, and this is the completed look. Again, there's a lot of things that you can take and switch out. Again, if you want a matte eye, you can do just matte. If you want something super shimmery, then by all means go crazy. Again, this Fix Plus could be your best friend to make a shimmery shadow even more shimmery. But this is typically what I wear every day. I hope that you enjoyed this. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button down below and please subscribe. You can also follow me on all of my social media. Links are down below. If you guys want to see anything in particular or if you have any feedback at all, please feel free to comment. I would love to talk to you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Bye!